video. Hey, and welcome to part 3 of a creature scene design that I'm finishing off today. And we're joined by, she goes by Nordsoul on DeviantArt, but you can see her work here at nordsoul.deviantart.com, or her website, Arena Nordsoul Kusumi. It's nordsoul.com too.
That's me.
Yep. Awesome. So could you tell me a bit about yourself?
Not really much to tell. I'm an artist. I spend 90% of my time sitting at home and drawing. So that's the freelance life. I was born in a very far place in Russia, and now I live in Moscow. So if you need to know anything else, I'll be happy to answer. But overall, it's like sums up things pretty well.
Yeah. If anyone's in the chat wanting to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. But for me, I pretty much draw all day. It's something I'm constantly doing. So, what mediums have you used in the past?
As all kids, I guess, I started with pencils, and I always liked pens and pencils more than paints because I like things to not be dirty. And when I got chance to go into digital, I was so happy. So I guess I jumped into digital pretty fast for Russia. I mean, technologies were slow here, so once I got a chance to do that, I did. But transition were difficult too, because I need to press those buttons, hotkeys, it's also difficult. But yeah, I got used to it. Now I'm mostly in digital.
Yeah, there's a bit of learning towards it, but the fundamentals stay the same. You know everything about light and color and things, but I started out 2 years ago. Well, I did do a painting with a mouse to start off with, and then my course had a Wacom tablet, a big one, so I used that afterwards. And so I officially started 2 years ago. I did do a painting before then, but didn't really know what I was doing. And when I started out, I pretty much started out with feeling more like traditional, where I just had one layer, and that's about it. It's just one layer painting. And now it's finding out about all the tools I could use to make things quicker. As some people can see here, I still do spend a lot of time rendering and things, where I could possibly make it quicker using brushes and things like that. How have you been doing traditional for a while?
It's just traditional materials were in this part of my life when I wasn't drawing a lot at all, but I have semi-artistic education. I studied as a designer. It was really bad place, but we had drawing and painting, so I had to deal with paints. But I hated it, and our teachers, they seem to be like trying to give us as less information as possible about what I was supposed to do. So it was basically just playing with things. I hated paints because it was so dirty and the water was cold and you need to wash everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit full on, like doing paints and stuff, it's the cleanup time for me. I'm like, oh, I rather do if I'm gonna do a traditional painting, I need somewhere like for cleanup, and then I have to wait for it to dry, and it's all that kind of stuff. I think
Yeah,
that
and you need to carry all the things.
yeah, yeah. I got a because I was getting into color pencils every day or every couple of weeks or so. I would go and get one or two pencils, new colors, and then I decided to get myself a walking set, so it's easier for me to take it on the go. But I find I can't really, when I'm out and about, I can't really draw or paint because there's only so much room in my bag, you know, and I can't. I kind of like to just sit there and draw if I'm going outside and things. So it'd be cool to get, I think, for me to get one of these portable kind of tablets.
Yeah.
Because it would make it easier, you know, to do all those colors and things. You don't have to have all the equipment or all the colors. All the colors are already loaded for you on Photoshop. Yeah, it's more.
Yeah, totally. And I'm sorry.
Go.
I checked out the iPad Pro. Like a lot of my artist friends use it, and they showed me what they can do with it, and it's just crazy. I want one now too.
Yeah, yeah. I usually just I work at home, so I just on my desk with a Cintiq. So it's that, and if I'm doing something else, I just bring my drawing pad, and it's traditional drawings from there on. What have we got for questions? So do you have a favorite medium that you like?
Not yet, I guess. Like I'm really about developing fundamentals now, like composition and all that. So I don't really care with what I'm doing it. And I'm really into this like task of mine to develop some things I suck into. But I would like to use my opportunity to ask you something, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So I've noticed that you do a lot of streaming and stuff, and how do you feel about it? Was it easy for you to start doing this? Because I feel really anxious, like streaming and even talking in public, and it's very difficult for me to do something like that. So can you please
Yeah.
share your experience?
I mean, it started out, I was a bit like, oh god, people are gonna watch me draw and paint and do my thing. So I find it started out a bit, not that great. But now I'm growing, I'm learning with everyone else, you know. I'm just sharing my art out there in a different way, in a way. If you think about it that way, you know, you're sharing your art, but you're sharing it live. And if you're not afraid to share your art, you know, I don't. Yeah, I overcome it for me. For me, I'm a bit shy, and if you get to know me, then I become less shy, you know. I remember doing my first streams, and I was like shaking doing them. I was like, oh god, people are watching me stuff up and things like that. But once you've done it a few times, once you talk to a few people here and there about it, it just comes natural to you.
Okay, you'll be one of my first people that I'm talking about, so maybe I will start my own streaming someday.
Yeah.
Like I tried it a couple of times and it was awfully anxious thing to do. Like, whoa, people watching my lines, and it's so scary. And what if someone says something?
Well,
Typical artistic thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's.
I think we all are a little bit shy.
There's just so many streamings peoples out there, and artists that do interviews as well. So I kind of like to watch all those stuff too, just to see, they're usually interviews with my favorite artists and to get tips and knowledge from them, but also to see what they're doing in it. What everyone's up to out there. It's harder to get like people to watch your stuff per se. Yeah.
But now we have some things like ArtStation helping and all that.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed on mine I've got the hashtag ArtStation, so anyone on ArtStation can see this at the moment if they want to check it out. But yeah, everything's way more shareable these days. So, you alright there?
Yeah.
Oh, he just went silent for a second.
Thank you for sharing your experience, because I really hope it will help me someday.
Yeah. I mean, I had a few streams with my fellow friends from course, and I think that made it way better just to have my friends there, just having fun and chillaxing, drawing and making up some funny content, that's what really got me into it. And then, I mean, I streamed on my own, and I thought, streaming on my own as such, is a bit like, okay, you gotta kind of talk to yourself sometimes. You're like, okay, and then someone can watch it afterwards.
Oh well, like it's usual for artists to spend time with himself, so
pretty much.
That would be okay.
So that. Then I got into like more getting artists in and talking to them and sharing their knowledge as well, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea, I guess, like to meet people, not meet, but like do some kind of dialogue.
Yeah, definitely. It's I started out with pretty much, so this is pre-recorded stuff. But I did start out doing more live streams, and they weren't the greatest because it takes me quite a while to create a piece. It can take up to a month, to create a good piece for me. Because I usually have a few things going at even given time. I do, during the days, I do drawing practice, I do the main digital work, or sometimes I'm doing traditional during the day, like in the morning till about lunchtime, then I do digital after lunch, towards the night time as well. So yeah, it takes me a little while to get things done, so it pushes me to finish it in a way. So I was streaming today too, and yeah, it takes a couple of streams for me to finish something, so there's that to consider. That's why I've done pre-recorded now.
Yeah, it seems motivating, and hey, you're managing difficult stuff.
Yeah, I've got 3 characters in a scene here. Have you created mini scenes before?
Sure, I need to do this for work sometimes. Though for myself, I usually tend to create like 1-2 characters, and I need to fix that.
So
But yeah, I have work.
Yeah. So, what are some challenges you've overcome in creating scenes and things?
Um, okay, creating scenes is like a row of challenges that are never ending
Mm.
because first of all, like creating a scene is kind of finding a balance between your technical knowledge, like perspective and anatomy and stuff like that, and artistic knowledge, if I can say this thing. Like basically,
Mm.
every painting is just an organization of spots
Mm.
of light and color, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you do it all only technical, that it will look like a scheme, very rigid and sorry technical.
Mm.
But if you do it too artistic, then it will be just a bunch of spots without any like technical knowledge behind it.
Yeah.
So, for example, you know that perspective is important, but a lot of time artists can just create their scene without thinking about it too much. Like
Yeah.
what I used to do when I started was like I need to create the scene like in 3D in my mind. Where is the floor? How everybody's standing and all that.
Mm.
But at more awesome artists' works, I saw that sometimes they just don't overthink it when they don't need to. If the picture is not about that, if it's not like a city or anything, they just concentrate on more important things like characters and what's going on and showing focal point. And so you kind of need to find that balance. And I guess it sounded difficult.
Mm.
I'm sorry, but art is really difficult to explain.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things. And that's the thing is, talking about it's not for everyone as well because it's hard to explain things all the time. Um, some artists find it really natural to be able to talk about what they're doing, their process and everything, and
Yeah, that's
others are like, oh, just doing it, but they don't fully know. It comes with experience, I think. Um, when I'm creating a scene, I'm thinking about many things along the way. Um, it's usually the initial sketches and the initial underpainting that I sort all these issues out. So I think about how the viewer looks at it, where would the viewer look first, and who is like the most important character in the scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a textbook application of knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah, it's what you're supposed to do to make a good painting.
Yeah.
And I used to struggle with sketches a lot, but with experience, I guess you start to feel better and better how many things you can solve just in the stage of sketch.
Mm.
So I now really enjoy creating them and like trying all the things I can try in this mini thing. So yeah, sketches are really important
Yeah.
and fun.
Yeah. Little thumbnail sketches.
Yeah.
They're popping up as important for me again. Um, because it's quick, it's easy to kind of play around with a little thumbnail and make sure it looks good like that. So I'm always going back to the fundamentals. I'm like, oh, thumbnail sketches and light and color and things like that.
Well, fundamentals never leave you. Yes, like you will have to to always learn something about that. Always try to get better.
Yeah.
It's it sounds a little bit desperate. Like it will never end. You will never feel like yeah, I'm really good at this. You will still have to learn everything. And now I'm getting really sad to telling it out loud.
Yeah. It's a never-ending journey, but it's fine as long as you're um still going, I suppose.
We were just laughing at that with my friend. My friend is really great artist,
Mm.
but he it's difficult for him to go through all the artistic pain that we always have, and
Yeah.
he suffers a lot. But he's kind of positive and always support people, while it goes easier for me. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm sad, I'm not good enough for this, but whatever. That's the only thing I can do, so I will paint anyway. But I find it really hard to support people who start because I know how much struggling and pain is a wait for them. So I'm always like, yeah, it's gonna be difficult, not very motivating.
Yeah. It's like when I try to tell someone about like the course I've done or something. Um, it you know you're not going to be like, oh, it was the greatest course in the world or something like that, because there was so much struggle. There was nights and days that I had to pull all-nighters. There were all that heartache of learning new things,
Yeah.
and I think that's what it's all about. You need the bad stuff to have the good stuff.
Hmm.
I have the saying, risk it to get the biscuit. Um, and yeah, go for that.
Yeah, the reward is really great when you get it in this rare occasions.
Mm,
People
yeah.
give you lights. Yay! You create something nice looking. Whoa! Mom is proud. My mom doesn't really get what I'm doing, but she's proud anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Um, for me, it took my parents a little bit of time um, to kind of understand what I was doing. Yeah, they really like um, the pieces that I create. I show them, and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing," and things. And they usually help me kind of sell my pieces and things at the craft fairs that we do. So it's great.
Yeah, it's really nice. So what do you think you want to do? In what path would you like um to choose in your artistic way, like more illustrative, more conceptive games or something?
Well, I really wanted to like get into um, children's books, kind of things, illustrations to
Okay.
tell stories and things like that. But I anything to pay the bills, with art. For me, I wouldn't mind creating characters and creating creatures for movies and things like that. I just I really like creating things that are mm, cute and cuddly, and
Oh,
per se, if you can see in the scene that I kind of portray that dinosaurs. My appeal is kind of towards kids, towards children. So movies that kind of like Star Wars. Star Wars can be for kids and adults as well. And there's
yes,
one,
Star Wars has a nice variety of creatures. I'm sorry for
yeah,
interrupting.
I just love some of the cute, cuddly creatures in there, and that inspires me to push that further. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that your creatures look really nice
Hmm.
and kind, not like predators or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I try to do some predator stuff, but I suppose it's just who I am. I can't really get away from that cute, happy paintings. If I try,
Yeah, you should do what you love.
huh?
Yeah, you should do what you love.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah. I just love animals, and that kind of portrays in my work.
Yeah, I'm quite opposite. Like I really love dark things And for example, now at work, I have to do cute picture, and they even mentioned in my brief that it should be really cute looking picture, and I'm really suffering through this because I don't like cute things, like to make them myself. And I always want to add something ominous there, something dark, something. No, it's not as cute as it looks. But when you do the work, you need to do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, there's those challenges, like I've had briefs where I'd go against my current, you know. That's what I call it. Yeah. So where do you get your drive for creating art?
Like everywhere, my life is basically concentrated on art. And first of all, it's discipline. Once you have discipline, you can just not stop. I don't know how to explain this. I don't need to be inspired really. Well, sometimes of course I am very inspired. Like I can listen to the music. Music is one of my primary source of inspiration, and can be like, yeah, I want to create something about this song because it's so amazing. But overall, it's just what I do in my life. I wake up knowing that I need to draw this, this, and this. I always have plans and projects to do when I don't have work, or I have work, so I wake up thinking about what work should I do. So it's basically the way I breathe and breathe and live.
Yeah.
And I feel that if I can't do that, I lose my drive at all. For example, when like I don't know, relatives visit or anything, and I'm like, no, I can't do my stuff. Yeah, this is awful.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I get my drive just from the love of animals and creatures, and I just find I need to take breaks sometimes. Sometimes what?
As we all do,
Yeah.
need to take a break sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you're not supposed to, because you know, you really need to get this work done. So yeah.
Yeah, I used to have all-nighters too, like when I got a bunch of work and it was so tight to the deadlines. But it goes away with experience, I guess, at least for me. Like nowadays, when I need to finish a picture, what I used to do was like, okay, I'm finishing these pictures in these 2 days, and then I spend these 2 days just working crazily, sleeping for hours or something. But nowadays, it's like, yeah, it will be done tomorrow, and I just do my usual routine, and then it's done, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I'm getting older. I'm pretty old now, so everything got really more calm and organized, and I know like what time approximately everything takes. So everything is much more calm. What's a good adjective to describe it?
Yeah, it's the thing with experience. Like, it's like one of these just graphic design sayings is that I took 5 years in course to do something in 5 minutes. It's that. It's once you've kind of worked out your schedules, per se. If you're freelancing, if you're in studio, they already kind of have a schedule for you, or you make up a schedule with them. But yeah, freelance is a bit harder because you know you're your own boss, so you really have to make
You need the
sure.
discipline.
Yeah, you need the discipline. I'm always pushing it. I usually wake up before 9ish and go all the way to 5, with lunch breaks and everything. But sometimes I get distracted. But now I'm just trying to keep up.
No. I'd say that like if you work 4 hours a day, and by 4 hours I mean really working, not being distracted by anything, 4 hours a day is normal, is good, and you can do a lot of stuff in 4 hours. But as I said, it only means 4 hours of purely working.
Mm.
But obviously, along the day, sometimes you're able to work more. Sometimes you have to.
Mm.
Sometimes you have other things to do, helping your significant people and stuff.
Yeah.
But but all these things, like I work, I don't know, like 12 hours a day, basically usually mean that not working purely, it means a lot of others, unless you're Asian, I guess.
Mm.
But it means a lot of other stuff going on. And
Mm.
for example, in myself, I notice how my attention goes down after approximately 4 6 hours of work, and then I just can't be as productive as I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though sometimes I have to.
Mhm. I try just to do what I can every day. You know, I'm not gonna be
Mm,
upset if I've only done an hour of drawing a day. Um, as long as I get something done, you know, because eventually,
mhm.
like, I pull other times out, like, say, like tonight doing a stream, I pulled that out, or if I've got 2 hours where nothing's on TV during the night time and I'm a bit bored, I may do 2 hours at night time, um, after just painting all day or something like that. So there's always times where, um, spare times you can dedicate to it and things like that, that
Yeah, but
back you
then
up.
sometimes it happens that you have a free time, but you don't have string attention or whatever. Sometimes I have,
Mm,
for example, time at late nights. I'm an early bird usually, and if at late night I'm not doing anything, for example, I'm in airport waiting for something or anything like that, I sometimes just can't draw because
mm,
you need some strength. You need to some mental things, and sometimes you don't have it. Like what I'm basically saying is, yeah, we all try to work as much as possible, but we all have our limits, and they're different for all people. And it's popular now to say how many people can work, how they can draw all day without stops. But it's almost impossible, and I think everybody should be realistic about what they can do and can, and that's
yeah.
okay. And not to feel guilty about if you just spend 4 hours working today.
Mm, exactly. I mean, yeah, we're not robots. We have flaws. We have um things that we do.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just make sure you put enough time into it. You know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you should make sure that you can reach your goals with what you put in it, but otherwise, like, not try to kill yourself with your art.
Yeah. Um. Cool. So how do you like check your work to make sure it's looking good?
I use tip that one of Wizard of the Coast art director gave me. Well, first of all, it's black and white check, of course. I guess a
Mm.
lot of people know about that. Just make your picture black and white and see how it works.
Yeah.
And the other thing is applying levels adjustment layer
Mm.
to everything, desirably black and white too, and make it really just leave the most dark and the most bright areas and see if you can read the meaning of it. Also, you can just try to make it really, really small and see if you understand what's going on in the picture. Things
Mm.
like that, like if it works or not with as less information as you can see,
Yeah.
as little
Mm.
information.
Yeah. I use a smaller window. You can make a smaller window in Photoshop, um, so that when I'm working on it, I can see it from a distance and understand what's going on, um, and if the detail is really worth it or not. Um, but yeah, I think for piece to piece though, like I do, there are little tiny mistakes or there are new things that I'm exploring, so I don't um, fully know how to do it yet. Like, for instance, in this scene, it will add soon. I'll be doing like water and water reflection, which I looked at some like reference of how that works. But yeah, I'm exploring new things to bring in new knowledge. But yeah, they don't always turn out the greatest, but yeah.
Well, I say for artists, they never turn out the greatest because you'll always see the flaws.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I just have to say, you know, at a certain point when I feel it's finished, I just say, cool, you know, it's finished.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll look back at it and be like, okay, maybe I could have done this, blah blah blah. But I always take that stuff into consideration for another piece that I do. There may be
because
something.
it's important to focus your things and to learn from them. Of course, they will always have flaws, but I think your approach is great.
Thanks. Yeah, like in the bottom left here, I saw that I made a mistake, kind of having the black there. I suppose I was kind of indicating the creases in his skin there a little bit. But I fixed it up a bit better in this new painting. As you see, I'll play around with layers. Yeah.
Please go on.
Yeah, I'll play around with layers. This one just, it got too many layers. Sometimes I'm in the moment, I just quickly want to trial new things, play around, kind of break and make things. Yeah. What's your process?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I do this all the time too. Like I learn and try new things in my paintings, and I guess this is so amazing that I really don't do much of studies, unfortunately. But every time I do new painting, I try to learn not only new things, but even like improve my old ones. Like I still not really good at portraits, so every time I have illustration with portrait, I'm like, okay, this time I will try to do it better. And we're lucky to have technologies nowadays, like, hey, layers, Photoshop. In the old days, we would have to make just tons of sketches before that, draw, I don't know, dozens of rivers to be able to reflect river in this one painting good enough. And now we have Photoshop to try things.
Yeah. Definitely.
It makes everything so easier.
Like here, I've just cropped and made the reflection like that rather than trying to reflect paint it, which would have took me
and if
a while.
You do something wrong, you can fix it pretty easily.
Yep. It's like in some, when I use brushes sometimes, it may not look right, but it kind of gives me a guide to what it could look like. Yeah, it's more easily fixable. You can do so much with it, but yeah, I do enjoy traditional like acrylics. You can still have that, have kind of the layers and removing things, but you do kind of need a tight drawing per se with digital work as such. Sometimes I have a tight sketch, other times I have it pretty loose and then I loosen it up, tighten it up by painting it. So
yeah, I really hope to give traditional things one more chance someday. Maybe I'll be able to do something worthy.
Awesome. Yeah, so we'll have our last question, eh? what advice would you give artists to keep motivated and achieve their goals?
This one is really simple and banal, I guess, but just never give up, because giving up is absolutely useless. Like, yes, it's painful, it's scary, it's struggling, but you can be scared and you can be struggling all like you can do this on one side of your mind, but on the other is just do your thing. Just do it unless you get it, and that's it. And that's what I learned with my experience, and I'm not giving up anymore.
Keep fighting, keep competing.
Yes, because really, how can you give up while it's absolutely useless? You will for sure not reach any goal if you give up. While if you still do your thing, you still have a chance.
Yeah. If you give up, I don't think it's
That's
for you. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So yeah, this is the finish of my scene. You guys can see it on my DeviantArt station when I post it up. And this video will be on YouTube. So thank you for joining me. Again, this is Irene's work.
Mom, I'm gonna be on YouTube.
Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, good luck with your creative stuff, and all the best.
Yep. Goodbye.
That's me. Yay.